So let's take some questions from the audience, man. You know, I mean, Shaka?
Yeah, since Gladius follows the ERC20 standard, I think these questions are relevant. As far as a project utilizing multiple blockchains is not far-fetched, Factum does that. Is there any plans to port over Gladius onto another blockchain, say like Neo, Tezos, EOS? And another question is CryptoKitties. CryptoKitties and the
we gotta talk about the kitties.
and the whole furball situation clogging the network.
Yeah.
Do you think that that's going to be a problem? Because, well, whatever. Do you think it's going to be a problem for Gladius being an ERC20 token as far as congestion on the network? And is that going to affect what you're planning on doing, or is that just going to affect the token itself?
Oh, okay. So, I mean, as far as the porting to blockchains, we don't have any plans to do that currently, because the smart contract platform on a lot of these is really expensive to use, or isn't as fully developed. But we may hit a future date. But you know, we like Ethereum, and it's got, you know, a very defined roadmap as to where it wants to be in the next few years in terms of scalability as well. And I think that ties well into the CryptoKitties thing. Like, we're just going to be delaying payments. I mean, basically, payments and certain changes get delayed, but the actual protection happens off-chain. So even if, you know, Ethereum goes down, which I don't think it will, it might be very delayed, but it won't break the service. People just will get paid. They won't get paid until a later date. And, you know, if you couldn't make certain changes, but, you know, you can make those manually. So if you called up or emailed the pool provider, they could also change them. You just wouldn't be able to do it as quickly through the interface.
Right, kind of like what Alex, just to touch on that, you know, websites still get their protection. Websites still get their content delivered. We do a fair amount of just service off-chain to prevent that from happening. We don't want, you know, the blockchain slows down CryptoKitties or breaks completely. You know, that's unacceptable for our clients.
Yeah.
And we found a way to, you know, fix that by putting some of that off chain. But, you know, like Alex said, there are certain things that are affected, are delayed, like payment. But in terms of actual protection and actual service to our customers, that will still be fully functional even if the blockchain would break.
Okay. Oh, joining pools and purchasing their protection would also be delayed as well. But, you know.
Okay. Somebody else on this side had a question? Yes.
So I have a couple. Actually, I have a lot.
Okay, just one at a time.
Yeah. So the first thing I want to ask, can it be separate my hard disk versus the internet connection, or it's will use both?
So the hard
Okay,
disk,
can you repeat the question?
Yeah, so the question was, you know, about hard disk usage and your internet connection, and if you need to have both, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'll need a little bit of hard drive space, but the goal is to minimize that, you know, less than 10 gigs, which most people can have spare on their hard drive.
I think most hard drives are like 500 gigabytes, 1 terabyte now.
Yeah, we're not looking into being a content delivery network for, you know, YouTube. So the content that people are looking to serve is, you know, if every website's probably about 100 megabytes, maybe a bit less, you know, you can have a lot of websites per pool and still effectively serve all the content that they have. Especially because most people don't put their videos on their site; they put them on YouTube and things like that. You know, the big content hogs are not really kept on websites anymore.
Okay. Second question?
So, but I didn't hear. Can it be separated between my hardware usage and like internet and what?
So is the question,
Can you choose? Yeah, you can choose a maximum amount of storage, but then you'll earn less, right? So if you only store, you know, 5 out of the 20 websites on the pool, because that's your maximum hard drive usage, you just won't get the traffic from the other 15. So you won't be paid for the traffic that you would otherwise see if you stored all of the static content.
So you couldn't separate completely.
Yeah.
You couldn't separate completely. You can't say
I want
only
zero.
internet.
Yeah.
You can't say only internet and no hard drive. Yeah.
You can't
Okay,
say I want
can you
zero.
clarify this also for the audience that's listening at home? When you say earn or payments, you use those terms. You're talking about earning the Gladius tokens, right?
Getting the Gladius tokens.
Yeah, so
Because somebody who wants to use it needs to acquire the Gladius tokens to be able to use the network.
Yes, if you're a website, you need these tokens to actually purchase the DDoS protection in the CDN. Method of transport. Yeah, so the website then automatically pays these pool owners a certain amount of Gladius tokens based on the rate that the pool is set. And then the pools then take a percentage for themselves.
For running the pool?
For running the pool, exactly. But then they distribute to each of the users part of the pool, however much they're contributing.
Okay, so I see why. So now to prevent somebody from spamming the network, and so they would have to acquire the Gladius tokens, and so that would prevent them from spamming it then.
No, it's more. Are you talking about payment, like as a website? Why you need to use the tokens?
He's talking about probably anyone who was malicious or would want to try to interfere with our network.
Yeah, to
You're
mess
right.
with the network.
They would have to have a certain amount of Gladius tokens to put up as a barrier for entry.
So it would be a financial cost to them.
If you're a node and you want to try and
do something stupid.
Correct. A node and a pool both have to put a financial incentive on the line, and that would prevent or hopefully at least deter someone who was doing anything malicious, because then they would be giving up that
profit motive is in the other node to do the good thing.
Okay. All right. Let's see.
What was the biggest challenge you guys, or any of you, had to overcome to get to this spot right now?
Okay, let me just repeat the question. So he's asking, what's the biggest challenge that you had to overcome to arrive to where you're at today with the Gladius project?
There's a lot of noise in the industry. So there's a lot of these other products that exist, or a lot of different ICOs and things that exist. So trying to get your name out there is very hard. We're all 20 around there, so that's also a challenge.
That's
what I see personally.
Well, we mean the youth.
Yeah, people don't take you seriously as often. So.
Well, here's the thing that I would say to that is that when we interviewed Vitalik, when he was 19 back in early 2014, right? We had when he came on stage, and then when we interviewed him, I remember thinking the same thing, right? But there was a huge lesson that I learned from interviewing Vitalik was at that time. Right. The first thing that was going through my mind was that, hey, this guy's 19. What's he know about building professional grade software? But what he's proven to me over the years is that it's usually the young kids, that are in the field that are going to come up with something innovative, right? Like it's not going to be some 50-year-old or some 60-year-old software engineer that's going to come up with some. That's what we've noticed.
And history is littered with those, right? Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Vitalik, right?
Yeah, like in tech, it's dependent on youth. That's not like an old man's game. That's a young man's game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think for me personally, it was kind of, I started this out as a software engineer. I started this out just programming. And we've had to go from, being software engineers to being entrepreneurs, being businessmen, and that's kind of goes along with the age thing if people don't take you seriously, but learning a completely different field, it's a completely different game, and just picking that up on the spot. Yeah, that's very difficult, especially for someone people our age dealing with people who are older, people who are established and have a lot of money. Personally,
this is one thing that I will share with you guys, and you guys may not be aware of this. So we spent some time last night when we met them for dinner, and one of the things that I like about what these guys are doing is that most 19-year-olds, what are they doing right now?
Playing video games.
Right?
Playing video games.
Yeah, playing video games, watching sports, goofing off and jacking around. Okay? And one thing that I respected about what these guys are doing was that last night, we were going to stay out late, and instead they were like, hey man, if you don't mind, we'd like to get back to coding. Now that's what I want to hear.
And it was 9 o'clock.
Yeah, it was 9 o'clock.
Okay.
Like this is like 12 o'clock at night. I'm like, it's midnight, and I'm like, yeah, but we got a bunch of code we got to write.
We got work to do.
You know what I'm saying? And and they were like, hey man, you get over there and write this stuff, and we're gonna go ahead and write some more of this code and stuff. And I'm like, when I was 19 years, I was running around, breaking into people's cars and stuff. I wasn't, you know, worried about writing code and stuff, right? So that's one thing I appreciate, you know, when we heard about these guys. And there's many times when I would hit them up on. What I like to do is I like to hit these guys up at 2 o'clock in the morning to see what they're doing, right? On Skype,
We're awake.
and they're awake. That's one thing that caught my attention the first time I heard about them, right? Was that I'm like, you know what, let me see what these guys are up to. Why is their Skype on at 3 o'clock in the morning, at 2 o'clock in the morning? I'd Skype and just ask them random questions. You know, hey, what about this thing about your project? And they'd answer back. I did that a few times. I'm like, what the hell are you guys doing up at 3 o'clock in the morning, you know? And like, oh, we got more code to write. You know, and that's one thing that I really respect, you know, that, you know, most 19-year-olds out there around, you know, screwing around, and these guys are out there learning blockchain, writing code. Talk about some of the places that you guys have traveled to already to share your project.
We went to Switzerland for the Crypto Valley meetup.
Okay.
So we met with the community there. We met with some government officials. So it was a really great experience.
You're talking about the Crypto Valley trip, right?
In Zoo.
Yeah. Okay, now some of you guys may not know this at home, okay? But you have to be invited to go to that. You can't just like sign up and go, hey, I want to be there, okay? So you guys got invited to go speak at that event, you know?
Yep.
What were some of the other places that you guys have been to talk about your
You
project?
guys were in San Francisco.
We were recently in San Francisco, had some meetings there. That was really exciting.
Talking about the product in a couple places in Europe, so that was fun. So.
Okay, and what kind of responses were you guys getting from people when you guys shared this technology with them?
Pretty positive. So I mean, you know, a lot of people think it's going to be disruptive, and I think that's, you know, it's great to hear that people think that you can, you know, disrupt a small, you know, $20 billion industry.
Does that tickle you guys when you guys when people say that? I don't know, man. Like, I was 19 years old building some software and some technology, and somebody.
We finished lunch a couple times, and people were like, "Oh, how do I get involved?" Which is, you know, really cool to hear when, you know, you pitch your product and you talk for an hour and a half.
You guys want to plug your site real quick?
Yeah, if you want to visit Gladius.io.
Okay.
Any spelling variable.
.io.
We own.
.io. Yeah, don't spell it wrong. Okay.
No, we own all of them.
Okay, yeah, I have a question to kind of work off of what you were mentioning on like typical 19-year-olds generally playing video games, right?
Yeah.
That's one portion. There's the worker bees that know about code like you guys. And then there are the others that don't have access to either of these. So two-part question. The first would be, what are drivers within your own environment that have facilitated your interest in code and also gave you the resources to follow through on that? And then the second would be, how would we, as a community, kind of address that gap for those that don't have access?
Right.
If you guys have any
Foster
thoughts
that
on
environment.
that,
I think
yeah.
I can do the first one.
Yeah.
Okay. Whoever wants to go.
Yeah,
Hey, you start with you first.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so yeah, in high school we all had a computer science class that we actually all took together. We were interested in, you know, I picked up Python, I think probably in like 7th grade or 8th grade. So, but I mean,
Okay, so for the people at home, what's Python?
Yeah, Python's a programming language.
It's not a snake.
Not a
is it?
snake. Yeah.
It's a programming language, and so I had a teacher, you know, in 7th grade, you know, tell me that I should learn Python. He got me a book, so I got lucky in that regard that someone, you know, decided to tell me I should do this and gave me a little bit of guidance there. So I think more than anything, I got lucky, and then you picked it up sort of organically.
Yeah, so I mean, back when I was 9 or 10 years old, for Christmas, my uncle got me this, you know, HP desktop, and it was huge and slow at the time, but it was awesome. And you know, as a typical kid, I would play video games, but like as I played, I kind of got bored of the game and started looking into the game's code because I saw these guys modifying the game and like adding new things to it. So that really caught my eye because I was always really creative in like creating things. You know, left-handed, but you know, when I was that young, I was looking online for different forums that talked about modifying games and stuff like that. And so just from there, organically, I, you know, picked it up, coding and all of that.
For me, I was a little bit later in the game. I would say that kind of what fostered my interest in computer science was just creativity in general. So art, writing, stuff like that. You know, that gives you at least a child a creative side to a creative, you know, mindset. And then kind of my medium that I wanted to work off of when I got older was technology. So, you know, it wasn't like I was interested in code at all, but I was interested in creating. And then I applied that to technology, and that's kind of where I found, you know.
So what she was asking also is like, what inspires you guys to do that though, to
Yeah.
push this hard at 19 years old? Because like we said, most 19-year-olds are goofing off playing video games.
Or they just don't know.
Yeah, and you guys at 2 or 3 o'clock up in the morning coding away on this blockchain stuff.
Yeah.
What is pushing you
It's
guys
fun.
to do that?
I mean, I think you have to enjoy it a certain amount, and so I really like it. It's really fun for me personally. It's kind of like a fun challenge, and that sort of gets me going.
Yeah, for me, I mean, my mother was born in Poland, and she came over back when she was 3 years old, and so she started off with not much, and grew from there. And fortunately enough, I had a great childhood, and continuing that and understanding that things you have to build things up from the ground. Yeah.
Okay.
And a certain degree of luck too, I think.
Yeah, okay, so and then she was asking also, like, there's other 19 years old out there that if they had an interest in blockchain technology and want to pursue something like what you guys are doing, what words of encouragement do you guys have for them?
I mean, words of encouragement, it's, once you explain the platform, what blockchain is, and it's super interesting just in itself, and to be honest, there are a ton of good nowadays there's a ton of good documentation of just how to begin. A tutorial, YouTube. That's where I started. That's, learning from someone else. We have so many resources nowadays on the internet that it's really not that hard to just search up how to do X, and then you just expand on that.
Okay.
So it's just the curiosity.
Yeah, the curiosity.
Looking up how to do X.
There's a lot more resources that that exist now for picking up coding and things like that. The barriers for entry have gone down a bit.
Okay.
I think, but the issue is still getting people interested at an early age.
Okay.
So maybe schools can do a better job of that.
Oh no, you didn't just take a jab at the school system, did you?
We had one computer science class, and it wasn't very good, and it wasn't until 11th grade, right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, what's your computer science professor say now that you got thousands of people that are supporting your project?
We have an interview with them tomorrow.
yeah, actually,
Do you have a meeting with it tomorrow?
yeah, we're actually talking to the UMB computer science department on one of their podcasts tomorrow.
Okay.
So
We'll see what they say.
Yeah. Are you gonna
Couple
like?
jabs.
I mean, like a quick jab at the school system there.
Not university education. That's great. It's just at a younger age, people don't get involved.
Okay.
That's kind of important if you want to. If you show up to your university, and some kids have had a serious advantage. They've taken a lot of classes, or they've had a lot of personal interest. Versus where a lot of other cases, you're starting from scratch. You get a lot of there are people who have a serious disadvantage, and there's a big discrepancy in how much people know.
Okay.
So that's a big issue.
This is a hot topic, man. This is a hot topic.
You should get a new phone.
Yeah. Right?
It's on fire, right? Is that a
Yeah.
Note 7? Or?
No, it's good. Okay. And we have any other questions from the audience? Yes.
So I have my question, right? So, like, first of all, it's not to you, but any ICO there is there a guarantee that you don't run with our money and just abandon the project?
I mean, yeah, the guarantee of that is.
Well, we'll just repeat the question. The question is that
It's a good question.
The question is if people out there in the world support your project and they want to participate in it, and like, is there a guarantee that you guys won't run off and abandon the project?
I mean, I think we have our faces attached. We're sitting here. You know our names. Now you know where we went to college, right?
I'll give you my address.
Yeah, there's a certain guarantee in that regard, and also there's a legal guarantee that's fraud if you do that.
Yeah, so
so
they live in Washington D.C. where all the regulators are at. So
that's fraud right there. So that's a good guarantee, and also we have every incentive. Like we want to build a product.
The potential is huge for this.
Yeah, we think it's a huge industry. It's much more effective to have a long-term strategy if you want to build a company than it is to just run away with a couple $1 million.
yeah, this is what I always say to all the new startups in the blockchain space, is that the reward is massive if you can do what you say, than to run off and abandon the project.
Yeah, so on our team, we always talk about with leonfood.com, we're like, they would make so much more money if they just made a good faith effort toward the problem they're solving rather than scam.
Yeah. So then rather than run off. Okay. So Other questions? Yes, there's in the back.
For the younger generation, as well as some of us older folks that are still interested in learning how to code, what would you folks actually say would be the best entry-level coding language?
Okay, so let me just repeat the question. So the question is for the older crowd. What's the best way to get started? And what computer language to start?
I'm sure we'll all debate about that.
Yeah, we could debate. I really like, I like Python and JavaScript. Those are really good intro languages. Yeah, JavaScript.
I would say JavaScript. I would say it used to be Java, but with all the web stuff emerging these days, I would say JavaScript has a ton of resources.
Python's got a lot of features. It's just it's
Python.
It's pretty.
I mean, you can also.
All I hear is snakes and coffee. That's all I hear.
But I would say like just important in terms of like a mental aspect of like keeping yourself interested in like pursuing, because a lot of people like to start and then they get bored. So I mean that's what I did. If you get bored in class, no matter how interesting the topic. So I would just say you need a good fundamental. So like some kind of thing that is boring, that is textbook, that shows you the basics, but then get some interested in something that that you can apply those things you're learning. That will keep you interested, and that's what kept me going, throughout school.
And if you want a great resource for quickly learning a programming language, learnxinYminutes.com is an awesome resource for just like it does a whole breakdown of every language. You can click on one, you can see, the syntax and all the extra little, a bunch of little language features. Okay. One big document.
Did you have another question?
I was just saying I was an older folk. I was identifying.
Yeah. Mike, you had a question, right?
You have one more?
Yeah.
Oh, so ERC20 tokens, they receive their security and decentralization from Ethereum network itself, specifically from the miners and the nodes, store all that information.
Yep.
In Bitcoin, running a node is voluntary, so you're using your own electricity, paying it out of your pocket. Why would can somebody run a Gladius node? Who would be qualified, and are they incentivized to do that?
So the incentive is it's already a sunk cost for everyone. You pay for your internet connection, you own your computer, and you pay for the electricity already. And I'm guessing all of you didn't turn your computer off when you left your house. Most people forget to. Anyway, so you're already paying for all of those things. All you're doing by running a Gladius node is offsetting that.
And another cool thing is that with Gladius nodes, you don't need like a huge beefy computer.
Yeah.
So with Bitcoin mining, you need some really
specialized hardware,
graphics cards and whatnot,
or ASICs.
So participating in the network doesn't automatically make you a node. You have to choose to be a node.
Yeah, you have to choose to be a node. So it's it's not like you are doing proof of work or anything like that. You're really just you're not doing anything on the blockchain more than receiving payments and transmitting information that way. All the infrastructure happens off chain.
And being incentivized. How are they incentivized to do that?
Yeah, you're paid in Gladius tokens for your traffic.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Did you have a question out there, Greg? Okay. All right. Yes.
To become a node, would I have to put up like a stake myself of Gladius token?
Yeah, and so that's to.
So can you repeat the question?
To become a node, do you have to put up a stake of Gladius tokens? And yeah, we do that to discourage spam. So you put that up, and that goes to the pool. It's basically like an application fee almost,
or a deposit.
Yeah, and what it allows you to do that way is it would cost a lot of money to send 2,000 applications to a pool that they'd have to look through with all garbage information. So it basically creates an economic incentive to not do that. It also creates the same incentive to be like a good node and not do bad things, because you need to be rewarded, or you want to earn that back. Right? You don't want to just do something bad and then leave immediately, because you're going to lose money.
Okay. No more questions? Okay. Well, thanks for joining us on this broadcast, guys. You guys said, you guys want more information. Can you put that, Marcelo? Can you put that?
Yeah, sure.
Because we want to make sure that we have the correct website up, because there's a lot of people trying to have phishing websites, and we want to make sure we have the correct. So while Marcelo's pulling that up, if you guys like these types of videos, guys, give us a thumbs up. Right? If you guys don't like it, give us a thumbs down. We won't be butthurt about it. Right? If you guys like more of these videos, go to www.cryptocurrency.market/newsletter and subscribe to our newsletter there. That's how we told everyone here about our meetup here. And did you have that other page up earlier?
Yeah, but it's
gone.
Okay.
Yeah, just go to the main page.
Yeah,
So,
totally.
Just go to the main page here. If you want to learn more about the project, we've got a white paper on there. You can read more in depth. You can see all that information up there.
Okay. Yeah. So make sure you guys go to gladius.io. I as in India, O as in Oscar, to make sure you go to the correct website, because there's a lot of phishing websites out there. And we want to make sure you guys go to the correct website to look up the information. So thanks for
having us.
Joining us today on this broadcast and at this meetup and supporting this blockchain meetup for everyone. And then go to the website if you guys want to participate in it. And hey, what's the best way to follow you guys? Also, is it on Telegram, on Twitter?
We have Telegram, Twitter, Facebook. Telegram, if you want to talk to us directly, we're on there like 20 hours a day.
Yeah, like last time I checked, you guys had like over 4,000.
We have over 6,000.
Oh, hey, my bad.
Don't short me on my Telegram follow.
You guys worked hard for that.
Yeah, exactly.
My bad.
That's the best way to talk to us. I would say directly, but we definitely have no problem reaching out to anyone in the community just through email or anything like that. So.
Okay. And where's y'all's next event?
120 new messages since we sat down.
Okay. All right. Cool deal. So where's y'all's next event? So when in the next few events, anyway.
As now, Dubai, January 9th.
Okay.
But we might plan something in DC, so we're in the area.
Okay, and if somebody wants to follow you, come meet you guys in person, stuff like that, Telegram and Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter. We're in DC, so if anyone's ever in DC, we are happy to give you and talk to you. Yeah.
Okay, so you guys, real place, real people. Okay, all right. All right, guys. Thanks for watching this, guys, and we'll see you guys in the next video.